So Munmun, can we start from you? And can you explain like what you want to discuss?
Sure, Smriti. I'll start by sharing my screen.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Can you all see my screen?
Yeah, we can see.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So first of all, before starting Database.Stateful, I'll just give a very brief revision on batch epics. So we all know that why we came up with the concept of batch epics, because in real-time projects we have to deal with some real data, which is very huge volume of data we have to deal with. We have to perform some transactions on those data. So if we directly perform any transaction on those bulk of data, we'll get those governor limit errors. So in order to avoid that, we came up with these small batch in which we are trying to fetch the data, and we are trying to process the data, so that for every transaction our governor limit is being reset, so we won't face that issue anymore. So yeah, so what happens is, whenever we are performing any transaction, data related transaction, sometimes there are, for various reasons, some transaction get successful, some transaction get failed. So we need a mechanism to see the transactions which get failed. Like, we need a mechanism to debug and find out, okay, which batch of data got failed, what is the bad data, what happened there. So so if we do database.batchable, so what happens is that debugging mechanism is not supported in just database.batchable. So we came up with this database.stateful, where the current instance of data, whatever we have in the batch epics class, it gets transferred to the next transaction. Like every transaction, this set of data, it gets passed on to the next transaction. So by the end of the transaction, we have we know the latest values of the data, the latest what do we say, instance or the data value, so we know what went wrong where. So I just wrote a code where I can show you. I'll just give you a scenario. Okay, so this is my DevOps, where I have some test data. Okay, so I'm just trying to fetch those contact records which have first name which starts with MM. So if you look at my test data, I have six records which have first name which starts with MM, and then I'm trying to perform some operation in my execute method. So what kind of operation? I'm actually not able to reproduce the real-time scenario, but I'll just give a small example that in execute method, we perform the actual logic, what is going to happen in our transaction. So in this example, what I'm doing is I'm just running a check that if my first name is this and my last name is something, this is a scenario which is non-existent currently in my org. So ideally what will happen, if there is a match, then it will just update the name fields, first name, last name. But in this scenario, it's not a match. So I'm just trying to present it as a error condition. So if it is a no match, or it's an error condition, then I have actually created a variable. Okay, a variable which is recording the number of records that have failed. Similarly, there's another variable which I have declared, which is capturing the number of records which have been processed successfully. Okay, and the initialization, I'm doing it inside the execute method. So for if there is a match, that is if there is success scenario, I'm just incrementing the temp variable. The number of records being processed will just get incremented, and for any failure scenario, it will just capture how many rows or rows of data got failed. Okay, so so yeah, those things I'm trying to print here. I think I'll just walk you from the beginning. So this is my normal batch apex class, which is stateless. Ideally, any typical batch apex class is typically stateless. Okay, this is a stateless class. So when I say stateless, what does it mean? It means that these variables or instances, they are not passed on to the next transaction. So whatever value you are seeing at the beginning in the first transaction, only those values we will see getting printed at the end of all our transactions. Okay, so so I'm just trying to uh, like initialize these as 0, and then I'm taking a list of contacts which I will set in the end. I'm just running a counter, like number of transactions, integer value I'm setting it to 0, and like the typical format of batch epics start, where I'm trying to fetch 6 records from my contact object which have first name like mm. Okay, and in my execute method I'm just trying to perform the same operation which I just explained, that if there is a match, like perform this update operation. If there is no match, then we will just count how many records are bad records or didn't match or failed. Okay, and then I'm just updating the list for this update operation that I'm performing, and I'm just trying to set the number of transactions okay, that is being performed in the execute. And then we come to the finish method. In finish method, this is the class that we discussed. This is the object or class we discussed yesterday. So inside this class, this is actually used for error handling. So we have some fields like create date by, job ID. So this entire thing, when we execute, it is considered as a job. So we'll get the job type, apex class ID, status will be like the typical ones, completed or holding, or like those are failed. So we will be able to know what happened to this job items processed, all these parameters, number of errors. So here in so we are doing select these fields from apex async apex job, where id is equal to, this is the job id that we are trying to pass. So yesterday we learned that this batchable context, database.batchable context, it stores the job ID of this particular job. So we are trying to see that what is the status of all these fields when the current job is being executed. So we are passing the current job ID here. So and then I'm just trying to print the job ID, all these parameters. Okay, so I'll just try to run this. So this is actually a bad data, and I'm trying to run it as a stateless apex class. So what will happen in stateless is the initial values will only be passed, not the current values. Okay, so we will see this as we'll see what value we get. Okay, so I'm just trying to run this. So I have 6 records which have first name like MM. So I'm just trying to pass one record in one transaction. Okay, so I should have 6 transactions, and each transaction having one record. So I'm just trying to execute this, and let's see. Okay, now I will go to this setting and apex, like you know how to navigate here, right? We'll just type apex jobs, and then here this interface, here it will show the number of batch jobs that I have executed. So I'm just refreshing it to see the latest execution of my last job. So here it says that total batches that it has executed is 6. But now let's compare it in the log file. Okay, so I'm going to the log file. I'm doing open log, debug only. Let's see. So here, as you can see, total number of transactions, the correct or the updated data is not being passed. So this is incorrect, right? So we don't want this. When we are doing some debug, we want the latest instance of all this data to be passed on to, so that we can know what like good data or bad data, where it failed, which went successful, which was unsuccessful. So the answer to this problem is Database.Stateful. So I'll just change this. So now this class implements database.batchable and database.stateful. So what does that mean? The state of these this data is it is retained and is passed on to the next transaction. So now I'll execute the same code. I'll just clear the debug so that we don't get confused. So it's clear. I saved the code. So now this is this scenario I'm trying for failure, like unsuccessful transaction, because I don't have any any data with first name equals to this and last name equals to this. So here I'll just show you. Okay, there is no such data in my org. So I'll execute and it should fail, and we should be able to see the I mean accurate value in this log. Okay, so let me execute. I'll go to anonymous window. I'll execute the same syntax. Like I have 6 records. I'm trying to perform 6 transactions, each transaction having just 1 record. So I do execute, and while it gets loaded, we'll check the latest Apex job status here. And as you can see, it shows 6, my data got processed in 6 batches. Okay, and here we'll go back and check in the log. So right click, open log, debug only. Now let's see. Now I'll open this. Number of, okay, total number of transactions is 1. Yeah, as you can see, that was for fail data, right? I was trying to reproduce a case where our data will like our transaction will fail because I don't have last name which is equals to NN1. So what will happen in this case? Record failed will be 0. First time when it enters the loop, it will become 1. There are 6 data, so 6 times it will enter the loop, and every time it will get incremented by 1. So at the end of all my transactions, my record fail will be 6 because it could not update any data, right? Because the condition did not match. So so when we are trying to debug, it will show me records failed as 6, right? Yeah, let's go back to the log and check. So total number of records failed is 6. Okay. Now I'll try to show you the success scenario. Okay. So I'll go back to the code and.
One question, Munmu.
Yes.
Here. Why is the number of transactions 1?
Okay, let me go back and check. Number of transaction 1. Okay, sure. Let's go back in the code and check. So first time when it is entering, it's entering inside this loop and incrementing this to 1. Let me see what we are printing. Number of transactions. Okay. Okay, sure. So number of transactions, I'm trying to print this value of this variable. Value of this variable is nothing but size of this.
Yeah, so there is this list con.add c, right? So there are two, in line number 28, 27 and 28. So what 27 is clear, but what are you doing in 28?
Okay, sure. So in 28, I'm actually running 2 lists in parallel. This one I'm running so as to update these values in the database. Okay, and this list I have declared like outside the scope of this function. Okay. So I'm doing like outside the scope I have declared so that I'll be able to fetch the value in another function. Now this list con final, the scope is limited to the execute function. If I try to print anything from this list outside the scope of execute function, I won't get it, right? But I want Yeah.
But number of transaction, I think you are doing con.size. So are we updating con somewhere? We are not updating con, right?
Con we are trying to fetch from here, which is coming from database.
Actually, Priya, con is C only. So she's doing fine because the con is assigned to C and she's updating the C
Okay.
variable.
See, okay. Got it.
Okay, so okay then. So now we will just try to test the successful transaction. Yeah.
But
Anyone?
why is the number of transaction one actually?
That
I
is like how much record we are fetching. That is, she's calculating just how many records we are fetching. Like for we are fetching only one record, right? For each transaction. Here,
Okay.
like let's say we have 6 records, and each transaction we are taking only one record.
So it's
So
just the
it's
batch
just
size actually that is
exactly
shown.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
First time, like when it is coming inside this execute function, I'm just trying to check like
What is the size? I mean, how many records are being pulled in the query?
One batch, yeah.
So just printing it like that. So yeah, now let's see the successful condition. So now I'll make it this, and let's see. Okay, so this should get updated. So, okay, I'll just clear the log. And I'll execute the same command from anonymous window, execute. Now let's see. Let it get loaded. It's taking some time. Debug.
Check the one of 6.84 KB.
Okay. Yeah, see, now we'll see. Number of records failed is 5 because only one record has that MM1, NN1, right? So number of records processed is 1. Number of transaction, I'll just check the logic. I think I'm not passing the correct value here. So don't get confused.
So only one batch run, I guess.
Yeah, only this one batch was successful and 5 were failing. And we can find the job ID details if we want to implement any logic for error handling. So this can be like if we mostly like send an email notification to the concerned people that the job with this job ID failed, and this was the type of the job, this was the status, or these many transactions passed, these many failed. So we can fetch from this. So that's how it is done. Any questions, anyone? And yeah, I'll show you the update also. So this only one field got updated. Okay. And these are the values. This is how we do debugging using Database.Stateful. Any questions in the code or concept?
I have a basic question.
Yeah.
So without using these variables, can we not get to know how many records failed, how many records processed without using this, without using declaring, variables? We cannot get how many records failed, how many records processed.
I think we'll have to, if we want to know how many records failed or passed, we have to declare a temporary variable, which we have to keep on incrementing. But there could be other logic also. So we can try other logic. But yeah, this is a very like simple example that counter we need to run for any successful or failure scenario, which we can print here. And apart from that, like we can print the other information from which we can get from using this job ID for that particular job.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically if we are using stateful, the latest information, the latest value of these data is being passed on, but when we are doing this, then the latest value is not passed on. So that's the difference. But we don't want this. If we are having any trouble with the data processing, then we want our data, like we want to implement Database.Stateful so that the debugging will be easier.
Can you scroll down once?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, just a minute.
Very good explanation, Manmohan. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. My
Yeah, like someone asked, right? Aarti, I guess. She was asking, like, so, like Apex, async Apex job. There is an object, right? That
Yes.
have that those like few methods standard, which we can use like to get number of errors. She has written, right, Munmun. Direct. You can even print that.
Yes.
Like number of errors, and we'll get like number of errors, like how many batches there are errors, or total job items, total number of batch jobs processed.
Yeah, we need to do job dot the field name, and we can get that printed.
Yep.
So Manmohan, can you show us from like what all async Apex job holds? So just copy this async Apex job.
Sure. Let me show you in the query editor. Let me see if I can show without the job ID. Yeah, I'll copy.
So this async Apex job will tell how many batches processed, how many success and how many batches failed, but it will not show how many records. Is it?
I'll have to actually Google what are the fields that.
Okay.
So do one thing. Just copy async Apex job. Go to file and do open resource. Go to file.
Open
resource. Okay, try here async Apex job. I think it will be an objects, I think. Just try type.
In the filter, can you type?
Yeah. Open async Apex job.
Okay.
Click on open.
Oh, great. Okay. These are the fields.
So you can select all and you can query.
Okay.
You can pass some,
I
try selecting all and query.
Okay, I'll just
if you want, like if you want to pass the job ID, and you can see like what's happened exactly, and what each field is giving you.
Can you see? So job ID, created date, created by, job type was batch Apex, class ID, status, items processed, number of errors. So yeah, extended status.
So number of errors will give if a batch failed, not the records. How many records failed in a batch?
Yeah. Like real-time scenario will get those kind of like actual data here. Just as small use case I was trying to produce, but yes.
Great. So guys, do you have any questions?
Thank you, Munmun. It was really good.
Yeah, Munmun, the explanation was really good.
Welcome. My pleasure.
Thanks, Munmun.
Yeah, can you share this code?
Yeah, I'll share it in the chat.
Vinay, please take care of the code, please. Hello, Vinay.
Sure. Yeah, I'm listening. Yeah, sure. I said.
So just copy the code and put it in the same file which you are maintaining.
Yeah.
And share across.
Smriti, should I share in the WhatsApp group because it looks like the chat has some limitations?
Yeah. I mean, put somewhere in the common place so it's easy for everyone.
Okay, I'll put it in the WhatsApp group.
Okay. Viren, do you want to go ahead and tell us about the next TML? So before that, guys, the reason why we discussed database.stateful in so much detail, because in interview questions for batch, this is one of the most important questions. Vinay, do you want to discuss about how to avoid mixed TML?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, like for this mixed DML error occurs like when we try to just combine DML operations for both the setup and non-setup objects on the same transaction. So like to avoid this, like we use this at the rate future annotation so that we can split the two transactions. Like suppose like in one class we are having two different methods, and like for one of those methods, if we use this at the rate future annotation, then like it will create a two different transactions. So like we can handle by using this. So like this is what I looked into, and like if I can share my screen with you.
yeah, please go ahead.
So so like over here, like there are this one is the class name is this mixed TML future. In this we are having two methods. Like in one of the methods, I'm just trying to create an account, and in the other method, I am just trying to insert a user. Okay, so a new user. I just want to create a new user over here. So like on the second method over here, insert user with role, there are 4 to 5. I think these are mandatory fees parameters that are being taken care of. So like what I did is after that in the test class, what I just tried to run over here is I just use this at the rate future annotation over here so that like, it creates a two different transactions. There's one for this insert user with role and another one for this use future method. So like over here, just I tried to create, I just created this test class named as mixed GML future test. So like in this, I just provided this parameter like the account name over here, the one that I've given on this method string abc. So I'm just trying to create that over here. And in the second class, I'm providing all the 4 parameters that I have passed with that is test annotation. But like what the issue is, like if I'm trying to run over here, it is running successfully. But like once I'm trying to go, but it will not allow Smithy to create one more user over here because I think Salesforce allows us to create only 2 users. So like if I'm trying to create a new user, it will not allow to do that. But the problem is something else. Like it is giving some other error to me. Like the email is not
Open the
valid,
problem.
something like that. So like if I try to run
First of
over
all, it's
here,
not saved your
it is
test code.
very. Oh, it's true.
Check problems. It's saving. Okay.
No, like these are not the problem. These are not related to this one. Like these
Okay,
are
it got
something else.
saved. Okay.
I'm
So did you run
okay.
the
Okay, yeah, it's
test?
not safe. So okay, run test.
Go to test.
So this one I think I should open, right?
Open the latest one. Click on that plus. Click on one more time, that plus. You can see that there is one method which got passed and there is one method. Double click on that, the one which got failed. Yes.
Is it opening somewhere or not?
Think,
Nothing is
yeah,
happening.
like error, you can go there. On the top, that's fine. Like, so like,
Okay.
yeah, can you just enlarge that column, the errors column? Click OK. In your class, What's the email address you gave? You are passing the parameter. It should be in the
I
email.
just put a random email address.
Should be in the email format, right? Can you check once?
Yeah, I'm using that format itself.
Line 26 in the class. Open the class. Scroll down. Yeah, scroll down. What is the email you have provided here on 20th line?
Yeah, like this EM is what the parameter we are passing over here on this email side, right? So the email that I'm giving over here, text class, like this should get into this email field, right?
Uh, can you provide it in the email format here? Can you check email on
So
20th
I'm not
line?
getting what you're saying.
20th line there is a email field, right? Yes. Can
Yeah.
you do it?
Should I give an email over here?
Yes. Okay, you are passing that parameter.
Yeah, that is what I'm saying there. I'm passing the
Okay, I
parameter and
see.
that is updating this field.
Okay, so you can just remove the codes.
What error it is
Scroll
showing?
26th line while inserting the user on this class in this method. From where are you passing this parameters? Can you scroll up?
Yeah, over here, in this method, like we are passing these 4 parameters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, alias
Coming from
the age should not be in under quotes, or it's just the parameter.
which one?
Alias before email. It's a string type, right?
So like
It's
these,
argument.
yeah, these 4 are the parameters.
Okay.
Vinay, can we see the error message? Like there might be some hint there. Which field?
Yeah, it is pointing out to this email field itself, invalid email address.
Okay.
Is there any validation rule in the field?
I don't think so. Like I've applied any validation rule on this field.
Vinay, can I check the code?
Yeah, sure.
The test code. What they're saying is this Vinay Gmail parameter should be at the place of GHI. You got it? The parameter, the passing way
Oh,
is
like
here.
just hold on. But like the
Yes.
email.
The third parameter is email.
That parameter should be email,
Correct.
not this one. Got
Yeah.
it?
Okay. So, yeah. Sure.
Good catch, Gayatri.
Yeah. Yeah, now you run.
Comma.
Yeah.
Yeah. Save it. The first one, click on that. Same.
Click on
Username
the
must
error.
be in the form of an Email. Yeah, I
Okay, the
clicked on that.
username which you are
Username
passing
must be.
should be in the form of an email. So same, the parameter you need to change in the test class. Go to the test class.
Can you open the link on the side which I have sent you?
Okay, sure.
So someone, Soumya or Priya said, right? Validation.
Yeah.
So in the backend, that's what happening. Because the user object is a standard, right? And username, it will accept only in an email format.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's already there. Priya is, yeah.
So, oh yeah. So Priya, like Vinay, he has passed ABC, right? Just
Yeah,
he has to pass it in the email format,
email
the first
format. Yeah,
parameter.
correct. Correct. That's what I was thinking. That
So sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
The first parameter, can you go to the class? Yeah. So username, right? So go to the test class and abc at test.com or something, do it, the first parameter. Yeah, save it and run.
Can you go back to mixed DML future class? Okay, because it's username. Correct. Okay.
yeah, username will always be in email format.
Yeah, always you have to do it twice, I guess. Control S in console.
Run the test.
Still trying it.
Okay, good. Now change.
Username already
Yes,
exists.
yes,
The
yes.
user
Put dot .e after that. That we will work. That is
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. Anything after dot can will work.
Try that.
Go to the test class.
Test class.
Yeah.
Add com. That should be fine, right?
com.e after com.e.
Oh,
Save it now and run it again.
good.
Now, can you go to mixed DML now? Yeah, this is running. And can you check the coverage?
So like it ran successfully. Overall, it's 46%.
Just the coverage of that particular class.
Scroll, like, can you take that section like above? Move this bottom section, move above. Yeah.
You want me to click over here?
Not there, just, okay. Yeah, click once again. Beside that somewhere, drag it above. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Now in the class, you can go to that class, particular class for which you have written the test class, and you can
Go to
see
right,
the
overall code coverage. Go there.
top, bottom right. Yes. And for which class you wrote? What was that class name? Mixed DML future. So look
Mixed
for the
DML
class.
future, yeah.
Yes. And
100% coverage.
so yes. So click on that mixed DML. Scroll down slowly. Okay, there. Yeah.
No, it's not there.
Click on arrow. Better use the arrow. Like to scroll up and down. Yes. Go. Here. That's it.
Okay, this one.
Double click. You see that's 100%, right?
Okay. Can you go back to that code of mixed DML? Yeah, close
already
this one.
in.
Yeah, and minimize this one, just the bottom section. Yeah. So I just want to understand brief that how you avoided mixed DML, because that part you went very quickly and we went to the test class.
Yeah, so like I have created two different methods over here. Like the one that is at the rate future, this is asynchronous one. So like this will run in a different thread, and this use future method, it's a synchronous one, it will run in a different method. So like that was the reason we get error, like once we are trying to run the for the setup and non-setup object in the same transaction. So there are two different transactions in this case. Like one, this is insert user with role, another one with this use future method.
Got it. Cool. Thank you so much. Thank you for the explanation.
So one thing, Smriti. So basically, as we are adding the add future when we are doing the user setup function method, so that time it is creating a different thread, and the DML operations are happening separately for this, separate from the object. So this is how we are actually avoiding this mixed DML, right?
Correct, correct. Like separate thread is there.
Separate thread, yeah.
Okay. Can you stop sharing?
Yeah, sure.
A class can have multiple add future methods, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Every future method runs in its own thread.
Yeah, got it.
Okay, guys. So now we will be now we are clear with database.stateful, mixed DML operations. So these are very important. So go through them again. Now we are here at QAble. Okay. So just a second. So just a definition that the class which implements QAble interface is the QAble apex. So you already know about the QAble, like what is interface, right? So here in the QAble, we use QAble interface. So we will be understanding a little bit theoretically, and then we will go with the code. So benefit of QAble apex is that QAble apex support non-primitive type as well, such as S-objects. So when you talk about the future method, it doesn't support S-objects. But if you remember about QAble, it supports S-object. Then there is system.enqueue and this returns the record ID. So if you go, we will check that. But if you go and do like system.enqueue, then you will be getting the job ID, and because of that you can monitor. That you cannot do with the future method. So that will be an advantage. Then you can change jobs with one another in QAble. That is another advantage which we having. So if you see, so first of all, it is having QAble implements, and then it just has execute. So if you remember, batch was having start, finish, start, execute, finish. QAble just has execute method, and then we are having this enqueue job. So basically, we can chain one job in one method into QAble job into another by using the enqueue job. So that is possible. Now it has some limitations also. That is, it is count against the shared asynchronous method call limit, and we can add up to only 50 jobs with a single transaction, and only one job does the call out in chaining. So we can just do like one job in the call out. Now we will be checking the syntax. So let's go with the syntax. Just a second.
Smriti, what about order of execution in QAble? Is it?
As in?
I mean, like in future method, order of execution is not respected, right? So here we can do chaining, right? So
it gets respected if we are doing chaining. So if we are doing chaining, then first will run and then second will run.
okay.
If we are not doing chaining, just a second. So for example, just let's focus on this one, this example. So for example, we have one job which we are running. So now when we are running this and we want to run another one, so what will happen that if we are running first one and then second one, it doesn't mean that second one will run after first one if we are doing like this. So for example, just let me give you an example. So for example, we have a queuable example one, and then we have the second one, and we want to run both one after another. So that point of time, if we want to run like this, so like if we are running here, it's not necessary that it will follow the order of execution, that first will run and then second will run. Second can run if it is having their resources available, because it's asynchronous. So for
Yeah.
that to chaining, that we run first, and inside that we will using system.enqueue job to make the the second one after that. So that is the use of chaining. Okay. And the second thing which I talked about is the ID, that using this, we are able to get the ID because of which we can do the monitor. Now, let's go with an example. Okay, so I will give a simple example, start with this example. So here you do just implement queuable, and then you do execute, and then you have to use queuable context, and then you can put that any name here. And then for example, you want to insert the name sfdcamplified, you just put it there, and then insert account, a simple class we have taken for queuable. Now if you want to run it, do go to uh, here anonymous window, and here just pass the name, that's it. And let's debug it. So I will just simply execute. Okay, so you can see that it is giving the job ID, like whole information is getting printed, and job info you can ignore it. I think I did I didn't do execute highlighted. I should have done. I have clicked on execute instead of execute highlighted. So actually we have to focus on the first one. So job ID is getting created. So because of that, we can just simply monitor. So you can see that a queuable handler is being created in a separate thread, and this is being created. And if I debug, you can get the job ID. So like that, we are able to see that. Now, if I want to monitor again, how we will monitor? I will go here, go to setup. Again, can someone tell me that how we can monitor the queuable Apex?
Jobs?
Yeah, it's like
we have to go to scheduled job.
No. We have to go to Apex jobs.
Yeah. In Apex job only it will be there.
Yeah.
The job type is queuable.
Yeah. So you can see, and then there's a ID, and actually I ran it again, right? So two are created. So like that, it gives the job ID as well to monitor. So that's how we are able to do it. So that is the base of it. Now we will be doing one question from Trailhead just in a bit. So that is a simple scenario which we just took. We can also do call out. So for that, we have to remember that allow callouts we have to use. So in interview, they will never ask us to actually implement queuable. Theoretically, they will ask that how it is different from future, what are the advantages, disadvantages, chaining, all those things will be coming. Chaining, we have already seen that we have to use this one. We have to use system in queue jobs and add the class name, second class name, which we want to chain. And then so then you can go ahead, and I will not waste put a time on this so that we can do the questions, but you can go ahead and see that why QAble is different from the future method. And main point you can remember is about the monitoring, and then second point is about chaining. So these are 2 points which you can remember, but these are the pointers you can go through. I will add in the blog so you can read the theoretical aspect of it. So just yeah, that's it. So that is all about QAble as a theoretical point of view. And it is asynchronous, and then we have already discussed about that we are using the interface, and then we just use execute method and then put whatever logic we want to put. Now we will be going to the Trailhead. Trailhead, what we are going to do today will be little bit higher level for you guys. So just try to do it. If you want to Google meanwhile, you can, but just try to understand logic. If you are able to understand it, that is fine. So I'll just share the link. Just take 10-15 minutes. Just write, don't need to write test class. Just write the logic for it, and we will just write the class, and then we will discuss. And you can Google if you want. If possible, do by yourself, but it's a little bit challenging maybe. So you can Google as well if you want. Please go ahead, take your time, and then once done, please just put in the chat done.
Hello, Smriti. Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, this Trailhead, the languages, everything is in different language. I tried to change it, but I couldn't.
Is it happening for everybody?
Yeah, it was happening for me. I'm sharing one link. You can use that. 1 second.
Okay.
It is Japanese.
The link. You can change that. you can change the language. Because in side also, but I changed the language.
How to change it? Could you please explain how to change it?
You can use the link now
Yeah, in
that I
Google,
shared.
Thank you.
Priya here.
Yeah, please.
Yes, Smriti, in this Trailhead, there is one concept that they have included is look at the S-object clone method. Okay.
Yeah, correct.
So this one, I was just Googling about it a bit. But it is little not clear to me that how to implement this clone method and why do we do that here in our code.
Okay.
Smriti, should I take this one?
Yeah. Please go ahead.
So, Priya, yeah.
Good.
Okay, I'll tell you. The clone method is like a method that is developed for S objects. So, for example, you have a record, okay, and you want to clone that exact record into other records. You use the clone method. So you just call the clone method, and it has 4 required parameters, which are Boolean values.
Okay. And why it has four parameters?
So,
why?
The first parameter is the preserve ID. So, for example, if you want to, it determines whether the ID of the original object is preserved or cleared in the duplicate. So, if the parameter is set to true, the ID is copied to the duplicate.
Okay.
The second parameter is for if you want to set the clone method to clone it deeply, something called deep clone. So if that is set to true, the method creates a full copy of that S object. All the fields on the S object are duplicated in the memory, including the relationship fields and everything.
Okay.
Just like that, there's the third parameter, which is the preserve read-only timestamps. So that there are particular read-only timestamps like created by ID and created date, last modified date, and all. If you set that to true, those are also copied. And the last parameter is preserve auto number. So like for this particular program, for this particular code, you can set all to false. It does not matter. So I set them all to false and use the clone method.
Okay, understood.
Yeah.
But why we are using? Can't we write this code without? I mean, just to complete the trailhead, yeah, we have to obviously do that as it is asked. But can we write this code, whatever it is told, without this clone method? What is the use case of clone method here in this?
Even I am not clear on that, but like since you're like passing the contact record through the constructor to the class, right?
Yeah.
So when you have to add the contact to the account, I guess they're not directly adding that particular contact that we're sending. They just want us to clone that. I guess it must be like a best practice or something. Even I am not clear on that, but yeah.
Okay.
Can we start discussing, because we are almost coming to the end of time.
Priya, so on the cloning, why exactly one of the use cases, like let's say if a object has like 100 or like 200 fields, if we like clone that, basically we are creating like similar record, right? Without like accessing all the fields for that object.
Yeah.
So that is like one use case, and like so it is like kind of fast, doing it fast,
So is it here like that we are creating the contact for all accounts? So we are cloning whatever is there in the account, because here we don't have any contact created, right?
No,
It is,
the new contact which will be creating, we
yeah.
are cloning that and we are saving in the, yeah.
Okay, okay, understood.
So the
Got it.
contact which we are passing as a parameter, okay. So
Yeah.
like we will be passing a contact as a parameter, and that contact is cloned and created a new contact.
Okay, okay.
Mhm. So like for the Trailhead example, he has asked us to pass only like contact, along with contact, just the state, right?
Yeah.
Let's say if we have 100 fields, if we are passing, and then we would like to create a clone for that, then in that case we can go for this.
Okay.
So we are almost out of time. So do we want to discuss today or how we want to go by it?
Anything, Smriti, like we are good.
I think Smriti, we can do this as a work homework.
Okay, because in 7 minutes we won't be able to explain well anyways. So let's take it as a homework, do it, write a test class as well, and then we can take it tomorrow. Because then we won't be able to have a proper discussion on this.
Sure, Smriti. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.